So I go up to the source of the spring and I see all the water coming out. Okay, great. And then I see that it's solid rock underneath it. Okay, super. I start walking down in the water toward the spring and I go further and further and further. And then I see the sides of the soil that had built up really quickly. But now the water had been flowing not even a week, I guess. And it cut about 4 feet down into the soil. So as I'm walking down, I start to feel like, hey, wait a minute. It's feeling like quicksand.
Oh
I went
my.
so far and I said, uh-oh, I better back up. This is spooky.
Thanks for joining us at Richard Hawes' vlog, What Would Our Kupuna Do? I'm Leslie Lang, and today we're talking about water. Richard's farm in Pepe'ekeo on the Big Island's Hamakua coast has 3 springs and a great deal of rainfall. And while all that water is a tremendous benefit, it also has to be managed and maintained. Richard, tell us what you're dealing with after this recent storm, which was just a couple days of big rain, and what you've discovered.
The problem was it was so covered with this tall Guinea grass because we didn't actively take care of it. We didn't know we were in trouble. That's what happened. You know, it just kills me because I've been spending all this time trying to corral this thing so we don't have the problem. You know, it was a shock because this rain coincided with the time the potato farmer started planting, and because of the lay of the land, the water started flowing downhill and it came down in a lot in a short period of time. And it just rushed through like a river. And that river ended up in the spring where we, collected our water, and we thought, we've had it for the longest time. So we thought that it was going to be permanent. As a matter of fact, we made a diversion around the spring so that if this event happened, the water would go around. But over time, because of the Guinea grass and not being able to see, as they prepare the land, they go through and they plow it and then they disc it and then they prepare it for planting. But it's all by field. So when they're doing this, they don't know how much the land has risen between the last crop to this crop. They had to feel their way through it, cutting the grass and disking and plowing and then disking again and preparing it. They move the soil around, but they are more concentrating on planting the crop, not so much how the water is flowing. Because the rain came so fast and hard, it overflowed the bank and went over the top and right into the spring. And then when you look at the soil in the spring, it looked like it was there for 100 years. You can't tell the difference. And it's a mind-blowing thing, to see that happen. And then walk and step on it, and holy smokes. And I'm not blaming anybody now. It just is. This is how it was. And if anybody is to be looked at, it'd be me, because I'm the landowner. So as they were preparing it, the rain happened just at the wrong time or the right time. For that to happen. It was mind-blowing when you look at all the grass that is lying down and the direction it went. It's mind-blowing what nature does.
Right. Okay, now why is this significant too? What problems did this cause?
Well, there was a pond there where the spring water went in, filled up so high. And then from there, we had a pipe in there that supplied downstream a steady volume, a 4-inch pipe, and which we used to supply water for our hydroponic operation a while ago. And then also across the street to where we used to run our banana packing house, where we had that reservoir. So all those things ran for, 30 years or however long we've been there. But yet that all stopped. Just one day it stopped. And we started looking around and, oh my goodness, that's what we're dealing with. What I was wanting to do was lease the land to farmers who could use the water, because the infrastructure was there, the pipes, and the water was flowing. There was a spring there. They could use so much of it, and we would work it in such a way that they would have dependable water, because the water never ran out over all these years. No matter drought or what, it never ran out. So that would be a dependable way to grow indoor agriculture where you have more production per square foot. So that's what we were trying to do. It's been now several months now that I've been trying to recover and show where the spring or the water flow went from the spring, but I've had to do it myself, which is slow. But nevertheless, I was making progress in coordinating with the sweet potato grower. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what we've been doing. And we were almost there. We could almost see everything. Mm-hmm. And this happened.
So is the Guinea grass new?
I don't know when Guinea grass came in, but boy, it's I can see where it would be a good product if you use it right, but you need to control it. It doesn't need to be in certain areas. Like, for example, it shouldn't be on the side of roads, because then it will cover the roads. It shouldn't be on the side of rivers, because then it would cover the rivers. These kinds of things. So you got to be selective of where it's located and what you could do to replace with what kind of characteristics. I was able to take photos of what it looks like now, because what we want to do is we want to fix this so that future generations can benefit from this spring in a smart way. So that's what we're doing now.
Right. And I think you told me that these springs are all sort of a part of this modern day ahupua'a system that you're working on, right? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, the water that comes out of the spring is real pure water. Several things that's really interesting. The pH of the water is real stable at 7.2 pH, and the temperature is very stable, mid 60s. The chemical content is very stable because it comes through lava underground. So you take a water sample, that water sample is going to be stable for 100 years or 1,000 years because of the way it runs through the lava and everything. It picks up the elements and whatever as it goes through. So the quality of the water is really good. So now we have to be really smart about how we use the water. Just because it's free doesn't mean we just use it up and waste it. What we need to be is very careful about where we use it, what we use it for, how do we maximize food production? Because out here in the middle of the Pacific, it's all about energy. And the primary source of energy is food, yeah? Because energy is used to do work. Like I said, the primary source of energy is food. The other sources of energy, like gas, coal, oil, are finite resources. As far as the water is concerned, it's practically forever. As long as the wind is blowing in a certain direction, so it falls on the slopes of the Mauna Kea, and you get that. So that's one aspect of it that's really lucky. You know, we just got to be smart about how we use it because the water is so important. They looked upon it as everybody's resource that's downstream of it. You have to be really mindful of how it's used and stuff like that.
So you've identified this problem, and what do you do now?
Well, you know, what we'll do is we'll ask a whole bunch of people what they think, you know, but right off the bat, ideas that have popped up so far is, well, you should get some plywood, maybe 2 feet by 4 feet, and walk on top of the plywood. It would be safer. You know, if there's grass that we were not able to control on the sides, we could now get over there and control it. And then the second thing is, what would be ideal if you wanted to walk all the way around it? Then you make the pond in the middle with a walkway. We're just diverting the water around in a semicircle to go out, and then block that, let the water run through, and just force all the soil in there and let it run downstream. And then at the exit, you just go down, 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 and then you can make a pond by blocking it. And if you had, you could make another outlet. So these are different things that we are thinking of that's possible. Or we could just say, you know what, we should just do a concrete something or other, like they've done with other springs, and hook a pipe to that, and you don't have to worry about a pond anymore. This is a thought, yeah?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And what this has told me is that, okay, we've got 400 something acres. Before, I just thought, you know, okay, we own 400 something acres, we just lease it out. No more, because since I've been fighting this Guinea grass and understanding how this whole thing works, I know that I need to maintain all the roads and all the streams, everything close to it, and maintain it in such a way that it's easy to control, you know, with the proper kinds of trees, shade, whatever, short grasses, et cetera, and control the water movement so you don't lose your topsoil. You know, so when I'm looking at that, I'm like, holy smoke, that's a lot of exercise. This is going to be good fun.
Yeah, now in a traditional ahupua'a, there were tons of people involved in managing all of this. That was maybe an advantage, wasn't it?
Well, they knew what was going on, that's for sure.
They really did. They really did. And it's so interesting that you're looking at this again. And we have another post, another vlog about the modern day ahupua'a. If someone out there hasn't looked at it, go back and you can get an idea of what Richard's got planned there.
So after this, you know, once we start leasing the land out, then what I'd like to do is work with the university, a Go Farm program, so where they teach the young folks how to farm. Just like when I started off, I got an accounting degree so I could keep score. That is critically important. They need to know all that. They need to know all the science behind it and give themselves a head start. And then if we can lease out land in small enough units that their family could take care of, and into a generation, set it up so it's generational. That's kind of what we're reaching for. So it cannot be too big, because, you know, if it's too big, how can a farmer get started? They cannot even afford to buy the land. Right. Yeah, so it's got to be a size that's manageable, and probably because we're not into mass production agriculture like we used to be, it's got to be a bunch of different farming operations on each plot, you know, depending on what the person feels comfortable doing, given the resources they have. Yeah, it's pretty exciting though. Try to think about it this way. The whole Hamakua coast is nothing but big properties. I mean, there's a lot of small here and there, but in general, they're big. How are we going to get younger people to farm if they cannot afford to buy the land or lease the land? They're not going to. So we need to change how should I say, the land management system, yes, to make more smaller parcels, because the only people who are going to buy the big parcels are rich people, and generally from the mainland. That's not what we want.
That's a great point. Well, great, Richard. Thanks. And then we'll talk again when you get to the next step in this process, meaning how you're going to get in there and fix this situation. We can talk back and look at it again. Thanks for watching What Would Our Kupuna Do? If you'd like to check out Richard's book of the same title, look at the description box below this video. You can purchase the paperback from Amazon or listen to a free audiobook by using the link below. And thank you, Richard. We'll talk to you next time. Ahui ho.
Okay, talk to you later. Okay, bye.